November 2021 can be described as the start of electricity challenges in most parts of the country after a heavy downpour that left many structures destroyed, among them electric poles and billboards. For the past 4 days, the country has experienced unprecedented power cuts as ZESCO, the power utility company, announced its black start, which, according to them, was meant to pave way for investigations at the company. The untimely power cuts have allegedly burnt down a block of 2 flats in Lusaka's Libala area, leaving nothing to chance. Neighbors tell Camnet TV that the fire started around 19 hours, 10 minutes after power was restored.
1 hour ya boila 1 hour yaenda so nenza nkezi na maboys bankapanja tinkala namuza tikashe mdaula kuseri aenda kwendea shambaula aboila after cha shambaula malaiti aboila so I was like okay isi yasha TV ka testazimi ya bozi yasha TV so kwa mimi tangena mnyumba naendera bintu vinu kana iyo mwana mbaula ikaribu yakati ya isi yake namuza tutoka panja enda kuseri uzunguruko kushtemani uone atoka panja nuza tukuliza nyachoka panja kusendera ndepa mena na muliro ucho kakamana ndepa mena tokusaba na wanga mnyumba rati wana mnyumba okuyapa na wapunjia nawe na nyumba yapya tosani moto kanapelekana wana yasena bwela yaenda ngepetezao na moto kumanga ni nyumba ya chadi yaka it's like ZESCO 40 kapeleza the whole day, and we've been experiencing this kind of situation for more than 3 days.
Another resident of the same area is worried that the situation, if left unchecked, may lead to loss of lives.
After the power was restored, we had, just after 10 minutes, my neighbor here, I just heard her shouting, "Nyumba yapya, nyumba yapya." So we don't even know what really transpired because the fire was coming from the top of the roof. So we don't know if it's ZESCO or if it's the neighbors that left things open, we don't know. Yeah. Motoka ni napati hapa. So wanaweza tosani motoka tosani. Jamani tosana motoka na paka punch. Because you know motoka na muliro ni maspark. So independent and partner.
Meanwhile, the fire was quenched 40 minutes later and no life was lost in the process.
But we start to fire brigades. So when we come to the Munjira, we starting to almost 30 minutes for them to reach here. By the time they were reaching, the house was gutted and the property was already down. So even if they have put off the power, the fire, but the property is burnt.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Many communities in Lusaka are packed with a high number of youths, and majority of them do not engage in any economic activity, mostly due to the lack of capital to start up businesses. This has led to an increase in crime levels around communities, as these youths spend their days engaging in drug and alcohol abuse and tend to robbing citizens at night. For a long time now, residents of various compounds such as Kanyama, Misisi, Chibolya and Mutendere in Lusaka have been terrorized by the criminal gangs who are locally known as junkies. Inspector General of Police Mr. Lemika Joba recently indicated an increase in the criminal gangs and directed police to curb the said criminal activities. However, residents of Mutendere compound say they are not being helped by the police in the area, who cite lack of manpower and inadequate police vehicles.
We've got a lot of unruly youths called the junks in Mutendere there. Junks are about 100 meters away from the police station, but we don't seem to be getting enough help that we need. Because these chaps, they attack people at any time, and the police are not doing anything about it. So maybe if a neighborhood watch can be formed and part of the money to be channeled to neighborhood watch so that they can help the police in terms of security, so that they can combat the issues of junks in Mutendere. We also need street lighting in Mutendere. There are times when there's no ZESCO power, so we need the street lights which are powered by solar to be put up in certain roads which are of great importance.
The residents say one of the solutions is to build more police posts around crime-prone communities and ensure that these are adequately staffed and equipped.
Zefuna kamba kupali majanki like Mtendere East Kalikiliki, wativuta maningi. We would love imwe as a government tandizeko according to the budget yanachoka like pama police yatu ma stations waibe mamotoka duty vehicles at least wakazienda on patrol na mamotoka. It would really help.
Stakeholders have been calling for empowerment of these youths, saying it is only when youth engage in productive activities that crime levels will significantly reduce. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
She can no longer hold on. The 12 years she has spent in marriage seems nothing compared to the daily insult she receives from her husband. According to 28-year-old Esther Mwamba, a mother of 3, married to 33-year-old Samuel Kapasa, a metal fabricator, says enough is enough. She cannot allow her husband to call a dog anymore.
because mwana uli na 7 years ngare tuka kamukonkere pano ndatoka lipature pero muchinju inatetu mundu mukashwanje ondikana naye napanganda alepunda ati ndemwe afye fintu fya mano ta kashuri chipota ukote amana naye nati na uyu ni chipo na lampashani at the head.
Mr. Kapasa is said to have changed his behavior into that of a chameleon every time he gets his 500 kwacha monthly salary.
Because last time futa again na mfuila to upanupanga ndo ukasanga tuwa na tobe ni ntunisha dumu na eneo inenkano dumu so chaliza ntonto nkanya pundi nishwa ranjile vya bana ukano dumu weka ukano shabana.
Meanwhile, Mr. Kapasa's mother-in-law sat quietly listening to how a daughter and son-in-law were arguing. She disclosed to Camnet TV that her son-in-law has never paid for dowry, not even a 1 kwacha coin.
Yonkani yachikwa tukunkala mu maezi amene bankala nalema kukamba pankani yachikwa tutiba ni pase kwenena bala mwana mkazi. But baniuza so cha but next month tizaleta iya December hiyo ija last year na manje kulibeo wangu lesi wananeteleko chikwati chao bankala chabe so chabe na kumenya na chabe.
Camnet TV staffs made attempts to reconcile the couple to come to a conclusive conclusion, but to no avail. The staff then witnessed how a 12 years marriage ended in less than 45 minutes. Miriam Kemba reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
Tuberculosis, also known as TB, is a potentially serious infectious bacterial disease that mainly affects the lungs. While there are myths and misconceptions surrounding TB, such as TB can only be found in elderly persons or HIV and AIDS patients, TB, on the other hand, can affect anyone, including children from the age of 0, as it is an airborne disease. I spoke to a mother of Kanyama compound whose 6-year-old daughter was diagnosed with TB some years ago, without any member of her family suffering from TB. The mother has, however, explained how TB medication has helped save her daughter's life. Meanwhile, Ministry of Health National TB and Leprosy Programs Manager Dr. Patrick Lungu says over 400 children in Zambia suffer from TB and that the number can be more considering that most parents do not realize that their children have TB due to misconceptions.
So TB in children can go to the brain and impair the cognitive function of that child. So what that means that a child who has suffered from TB and TB is detected late, if not treated late, this child will not be able to learn easily in class, will not be able to do any meaningful economic activities thereafter. One of the other consequences of TB is that it can also lead to a child starting to fit.
Dr. Lungu says TB in children can be prevented if medication is administered on time and that a child can live a normal life.
These issues that I've mentioned can be prevented, can be avoided by just being aware of TB and for the public seeking care whenever they have TB much early. When a child comes in contact with an adult or a fellow child who has TB, they can easily get it. If you look at how easily children get flus.
For the mother of a 6-year-old, she has advised women not to be reluctant about TB, but take a step and seek medical attention. Having TB does not mean a person or a child has an underlying condition. The public then ought to know that TB can affect both children and adults as it is an airborne disease. However, its consequences can be lethal if not treated on time. The best way then to fight TB is for one to seek medical attention whenever symptomatic. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
November 2020, Patriotic Front PF cadres Innocent Kalimashi, Nathan Piri, and Capson Mwanza made a strong statement against the Home Affairs Minister, Stephen Kampyongo, when they were being led away from the grounds of the Magistrate Court. Now, a strong warning has been sent by the PF Secretary General, Davis Mwila, that the party will not condemn anyone to insult innocent ministers appointed by the president.
President, you cannot just respect the president about the punch Mulebatuka. If you are my friend, that friendship will end. Me, I can tell you. You are insulting ministers who are innocent. We will not allow that. And we will kick you out.
The SG says it is shameful to see how PF members went into the street of Chawama, blocked roads and started harassing innocent citizens. On the 28th of October 2020, Kalimashi, Piri and Mwanza were arrested in relation to a fracas that occurred in Chawama, in which some unruly cadres clashed and ended up causing disruption and peace in the area.
We cannot allow members of the party go on the street, they block roads, they start harassing innocent people. We will not allow that. We are going for elections and we want discipline.
The PF have disowned Mr. Kalimashi, saying he's not their member.
Anyone who is going to create confusion in the party, he will have no room in the party. Anyone who is going to create violence amongst ourselves is not a member of the party. Anyone who is going to insult presidential appointees is not a member of the party.
Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
The 174 billion kwacha 2022 national budget presented to Parliament by Minister of Finance Tumiko Msokotwane has continued to attract reactions from different sectors of society. While government has proposed that it will borrow 24.5 billion kwacha in domestic debt to finance the budget, the revenue measures announced by the government, on the other hand, among them the deductibility of mineral royalties for corporate income tax, assessment purposes and others, will result in losses in revenue of over 5 billion kwacha. However, Zanaco head of research and economics Dr. Patrick Chileshe says the tax concessions will cause a huge gap in the budget financing, which will require the Zambia Revenue Authority to enhance its revenue mobilization strategy.
173 billion kwacha is a tall order to raise in this economy. The Minister of Finance has given a number of concessions which are amounting to over 4 billion kwacha, whereas measures that will help to bring in new resources only stand at around 392 million kwacha. So we need to see a Zambia Revenue Authority that is going to work extremely hard to expand the tax base to ensure that the private sector is able to contribute more, and more important, those sectors which haven't been contributing much to the revenue basket in this country, especially the SMEs.
But in response, the chief government spokesperson Chushi Kasanda says the government will always find a way of balancing figures whenever concessions are given.
Government cannot introduce taxes that they will not be able to manage. Such taxes we always ensure that they have a balance. If you take from the other hand, be assured that the other hand has something to cushion the other hand.
Dr. Chileshe, on the other hand, says the budget speaks to the growth of the 3% the Minister of Finance announced in his budget.
In our view, the budget measures that have been proposed, or the sectors of focus, really speak to the growth of over 3.5% that the Minister is proposing. We have measures in the mining sector which have included making the mineral royalty tax deductible. We have a number of measures that are proposed in the agriculture sector. The Minister is looking at ensuring that the agriculture sector becomes more productive.
While those in the opposition have criticized the budget and called it a hoax, the country awaits to see how its implementation will unfold. Prudence Jota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Zambia to advise policymakers in the various institutions that are tasked with retention of healthcare workers, because it brings out the reasons why these practitioners are moving. The last four years, government has embarked on massive health worker recruitment, and I think what we would like to inform policymakers is that the focus should slowly begin to shift on how they are going to retain these practitioners that have been employed, so that we build on the successes that we've recorded so far. So we hope to see a policy shift.
You know, we've been grappling with the issue of attaining the ratio, which is one nurse to a reasonable number of the population. And you know, as General Nursing Council, our business is to regulate the training, the education, and the practice of nurses and midwives. So we strive very hard to ensure that we produce quality nurses and midwives. And then all of a sudden you have this migration, and we still have this gap in our health facilities.
Zambia's rural community, which is slightly above 50% of the population, is dependent on wood fuel for energy. This means that cutting of trees is done at rapid level to meet the demand both in rural and urban areas, resulting in negative effects of climate conditions. To avert the situation, Caritas Zambia has called for enhanced environmental protection among rural communities. Organization program specialist on livelihood and climate change, Musamba Mubanga, says Caritas is implementing a one-year pilot project known as the Climate Justice Innovation Managed.
So with the tree planting that we have embarked on under this school, it's really more on ensuring that the schools really, the pupils appreciate the relationship between a tree and the environment. I think there are a number of challenges that I think cannot be solved within this lifespan. Like, for example, I think in every project side, both in the communities, that's in Mapatiza area, and also within Kalomo and Zimba districts, what keeps popping up is a water challenge, which to some extent the project can't fully respond to, because I think we've been focusing more on awareness raising, more of the knowledge, and also skill development.
And Diakonia Programs Officer Edward Goma says the Climate Justice Innovation Project is important in empowering communities with knowledge on the effects of deforestation.
As a way of not just advocating about climate change or making people aware, we decided to go a step further, to empower the communities that we work with. In that, when you empower people, certain projects or certain interventions become a bit more sustainable. And so what we have seen here is really impressive, where government cannot come in. As Diakonia, we believe, and as Caritas Zambia also, we believe that we can be a partner in development, and I think this is really going to go a long way in terms of making the school a bit more sustainable.
Meanwhile, Natale Primary School head teacher Royce Chimuka says the trees that were donated by the two NGOs will help improve pupils' nutritional needs.
So the learners will benefit from these fruits. Imasamu viaja kulia turijis. So ijigoro ndiyo tijira yakujana mpindu maningi. Mbe bakatuletera alimwi atusamu byotu mwitutari twabubotere abo obusena. They have come at the right time where the Minister of Education is saying let each school go back to production unit.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.